Walsh. I'm from the Global Galway office at University of Galway, and I'm delighted to be joined today by my esteemed colleagues from our School of Law and the Irish Centre for Human Rights. So without further ado, I'll pass over to my colleague Maria. But just before I do that, some housekeeping. This event is being recorded, so you can re-watch the recording later via the Student Ambassador platform. Indeed, we can share the recording with you. There's functionality to drop some questions into the live chat, and we can address those questions then once the presentations have been completed. Over to you, Maria.
Hi all, thank you all for joining our webinar today. I am Maria. I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer for the School of Law at University of Galway. So today we will be talking through our LLM programs that are delivered by the School of Law, Irish Centre for Human Rights and the Centre for Disability Law and Policy. We also have some of our program directors and lecturers on the call. So I'll allow them to take it in turns just to provide a brief intro where they can allocate their name and the program that they are a director of. So we can start with Janos and then we can just pass along.
Hello, my name is Janos Fiala-Butera. I'm the program director of the Centre for Disability Law and Policy.
Perfect. Ray, we can go to you next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ray Murphy, and I'm the Programme Director for the Masters LLM in Peace Operations, Humanitarian Law and Conflict.
Perfect. Siobhan, we can pass over to you.
Hi, I'm Siobhan Mullally, Director of the Irish Centre for Human Rights, and I'm Programme Director for the LLM in International Human Rights Law and for the LLM in International Migration and Refugee Law and Policy.
Perfect. And we'll pass it over to you, Anita.
Hi, I'm Anita Ferrara, and I'm the Program Director of the LLM in Transitional Justice, Human Rights and Conflict.
Perfect. And has Raja been able to join the call?
I think she may be on the wrong link, but I'm happy.
I sent her the right link and I hope she might join.
Okay, perfect. So I will take you through initially Galway as a university destination. As you're an international student, it's really important to consider the location of your university. So we'll go through Galway, the School of Law, and then I'll take you through our LLM programs. I'll provide a brief overview, and then I will get some of our lecturers to feed in where they can tell you about some of the unique course offerings for each of the LLMs. So to begin, we will look at Galway as a university city. So we are based on the west coast of Ireland. We are the fourth largest city in the Republic of Ireland. In 2020, we were the European Capital of Culture, and it's a very vibrant university city. There's always festivals going on, whether they are to do with culture, music, film, and arts. It's an extremely warm, welcoming, and vibrant city. In 2024, we were ranked as #1 as the Europe for student friendliness by the Campus Advisor. And as you can imagine, this is something that our international students find extremely helpful when they're trying to make friends and immerse themselves in a new culture in a new city. And we are close to some of the areas which a lot of our tourists and international students like to visit, such as the Cliffs Moher, Connemara. As I mentioned, there's always festivals going on, and we are in very close proximity to the city centre as well. So something as well a lot of our international students consider is proximity to the city centre, with a lot of our students walking to and from. It's approximately a 10-minute walk, and it's really in the heart of Galway city centre. So just to know a couple of selling points of Galway city. Then we will look at the School of Law. So we have been teaching law since 1849. So there is a lot of history esteemed in our teaching, yet we aim to deliver an innovative legal education in a dynamic school that is dedicated to that impactful, high quality legal research. Looking at the School of Law at a glance, we were the winner of the Law School of the Year in 2024, and we also have some esteemed rankings from the QS World University rankings. And our student body is currently represented by over 27 nationalities. So as you can imagine, our classrooms are a really diverse, warm and welcoming environment. On campus, we also have the Irish Centre for Human Rights, which is really unique offering for our University of Galway. So with this is one of the world's premier academic human rights institution, and the Irish Centre for Human Rights is dedicated to the study of human rights, peace and conflict, international criminal law, humanitarian law, international refugee and migration law, and gender, human rights and climate justice. So with the centre being based on campus, it really offers an immersive experience for all of our students who wish to study one of those particular LLMs, and we will have more of that later when we talk in detail about the programs. We currently offer 12 LLM programs. So as you can see, they're all on the screen here. But what we will look at today is the bottom 8 programs. So we'll look at some of our criminology, criminal justice and human rights. We'll have a look at in-depth, more specialized human rights LLM programs alongside our peace operations, humanitarian law and conflict. So we will begin with our LLM in international criminal law. So looking at this LLM program, this offers our students the opportunity to explore those legal frameworks that govern accountability for international crimes. So this covers international crimes such as war crimes, genocide and crimes against humanity. So our students also have the opportunity to have that extracurricular study with visits to the International Criminal Court in The Hague, and it really does offer those students that immersive experience with this degree program. Some of the unique features of this course is that there is that global relevance and ethical focus. So within the degree program, you will tackle complex legal questions around accountability, transitional justice, and victims' rights. It's also research-led learning, so you learn from globally recognized legal scholars. And you'll also have the chance to incorporate that specialized justice-centered curriculum. So as I mentioned, there'll be topics such as genocide, war and crimes, and this is all part of your core learning that we have incorporated into the LLM program. Sticking with the criminology and criminal justice, we also offer this LLM program. So this offers students a comprehensive and interdisciplinary curriculum designed to deepen your understanding of contemporary justice system, the human rights frameworks, and criminal law. So if you are interested in progressing in advancing justice, human rights, and criminal law reform, this is a really good LLM program for you. It's also research-led and delivered from the crime and punishment and rights research clusters. So something that you will notice with all of our LLM programs is that we have a lot of centers on campus and a lot of research clusters, which really means that our learning is research-led with academic excellence. And looking at some of the unique course features of this particular program, students have the opportunity for this to be either research or practice pathways. So this provides students with the flexibility if you would like more of a research-driven academic path, or if you would prefer a focus on practical application through real-world case studies, you can go down that route as well. There is also within this course the opportunity for interdisciplinary focus, which combines criminology, criminal law, and human rights to provide that broad critical understanding of the justice system. I will now pass over to one of our academics who will add more insight on both of those criminal law and criminology focused degree programs.
Hi, thanks, Maria. I'm Charles Mahoney. I'm the interim program director. Our colleague, Dr. Roisin Mulgrew, is the program director. She's on research sabbatical this year, but she'll be back next year. So really just to add to what Maria said, this is a master's program that is at the intersection of criminology, criminal justice and human rights. So it's quite a unique program because programs tend to focus either on criminology or criminal justice issues. But we leverage, I suppose, the kind of the unique feature of this is that it is at the intersection with human rights as well. So it's offered across the School of Law and the Irish Centre for Human Rights, and the teaching faculties across the school and the research centres, including the Crime, Punishment and Rights Research Cluster. So I suppose one of the things that will be of interest to students in particular is that it is research-led, so people that are teaching the specialised programmes and modules on the programme are experts in the area of criminology, criminal justice and human rights. And the structure is like with all the other master's programs. You do a core module. So there's a core module on criminology, criminal justice and human rights in semester 1. And then you have a huge amount of choice for the other modules in semester 1 and in semester 2. And over the summer then, there's a 30 ECTS credit on a minor thesis where you get to specialise on a research project. So there's a huge variety of choice of modules there, from police and security and rights, imprisonment and rights, sentencing and penal policy. You can then choose a range of modules across other programs. There's also a module we have on minority groups and the criminal justice system. There's one of the other really great benefits to undertaking this particular program is that we have a number of additional add-on extracurricular things that we do with students. We have a number of field trips as part of the programme. Yesterday we brought students to the women's prison in Limerick, which is to the south of the country, where students got to speak with the governor and the prison officers to get a real understanding of what it is like to run a prison and try to move towards best practice in line with international principles, for example, the Bangkok principles around prison standards. And we also have a crime, punishment and rights film series, which is run across the school and with the Irish Centre for Human Rights. So students join us and members of the faculty on that committee, and we choose a programme of films that are screened in the Palace cinema in the city. So there's really good opportunities there. And we also have guest speakers that come from a range of non-governmental organisations, human rights organisations working in the area of criminal law, criminal justice, prisoners' rights. So there's great opportunities there to meet practitioners in the field and to kind of plan what you want to do as a student beyond your master's as you transition to professional life. So there's some of the strengths of the programme. It really is designed to maximise choices for you around modules, your minor thesis, and then other opportunities that are extracurricular to help you figure out what you'd like to do past your master's and to transition into a range of other roles. So I'm happy to take questions later on, but that's kind of some of the main features of the programme.
Great. Thanks, Charles, for providing that insight to the students. As Charles mentioned, there will be an opportunity for a questions and answers session at the end if you have any further question on these programs or on more to follow. So looking at the next program, we have the LLM in International and Comparative Disability Law and Policy. So this LLM program offers that in-depth study of disability rights law, the international policy frameworks, and comparative legal systems. So this engages our students with global disability advocacy and policy initiatives. So if you are really motivated by international legal challenges, or you're committed to advancing disability rights and you're eager to engage with that global community of scholars and practitioners, this program will equip you with all of the knowledge and the skills that you need to do with that. And with our graduates, these are kind of people who are seeking expertise within the disability law. And it is also on campus, the Centre for Disability Law and Policy, which Janos will speak to in a couple of minutes. As mentioned here, there is that global disability law expertise. So with the centre being on campus, you really have that guidance and support from world-leading scholars. There's also flexibility within this LLM program to tailor your studies based on the modules that you would like. So if you want more of a focus on inclusive education, employment rights, healthcare law, or social policy, there is the opportunity to add those additional modules into your LLM program. There is also practical training and field work alongside real world application, which I will now pass over to Janos to add in some unique elements of this LLM program.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm Janos Fiala-Butera. I already told you I'm the program director of this quite unique LLM. Apparently, we are the only one in the world, the only university which has an LLM program in international and comparative disability law and policy. We were set up to support the adoption and later the implementation on the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the newest UN Human Rights Convention. And that very much shapes what we do. We are a firmly human rights-based program. We focus on the CRPD, the UN Convention, and also other human rights documents. We have quite a comparative approach also. Concerning our modules, as Maria mentioned, we have one module which is mandatory, which is the foundations module, foundational concepts in disability law and policy. And apart from that, students can choose from a number of elective modules. You have to choose 5 apart from foundations during the year. And these focus on specific areas of disability law and policy, like legal capacity law, inclusive education, mental health law, advocacy and access to justice, and others. We are quite a research-based program, so we have always some various research projects going on in which sometimes students join. We do a lot of research for international organizations involved in disability. So, for example, for the United Nations CRPD committee. We have an ongoing internship program with the CRPD committee. So every year, 1 or 2 students can go to Geneva. It's a funded scholarship. So we have funding to send you to Geneva for some time, and the rest is online. I would also emphasize our International Disability Rights Clinic. So students can get involved with various real-life ongoing cases, either providing legal advice to people in Ireland or supporting international litigation, supporting amicus briefs to international courts. The topic changes every year. We have quite a number of guest speakers because we very much like to stay in touch with practice. So whatever is going on the international field, we are very much involved with that. And most of our graduates would want to work in disability rights on the international field or on the national fields. Nowadays, there is a lot of demand for people who have expertise in the area of disability, and there aren't enough professionals trained in that area. But some of them wish to practice in human rights, and they just want to have knowledge and expertise in the area of disability. And a third large group wants to do research, continue a PhD, or do other kind of research work. So these are all possible with our program. Thank you very much, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have later.
Great, thank you, Janos. That was great to hear more about the unique features of this course. And as mentioned, any additional questions can be popped into the chat at the end. So looking at our next LLM program, it is the LLM with Peace Operations, Humanitarian Law and Conflict. And with this LLM program, this really engages our students to look at the legal and policy challenges of armed conflict, peace building, and humanitarian response. So students gain the expertise to work within international peace operations, conflict zones, or global institutions advancing conflict resolution and protection. So this is really ideal for graduates or legal professionals who are looking to further understand the complex legal frameworks of governing armed conflict, humanitarian protection, and peace operations. So if you are passionate about these areas and shaping humanitarian responses or working in conflict affected environments, this course is definitely designed for you. So looking at some of the unique course features with this, we have a global outlook but operational relevance. So our students examine the legal frameworks guiding international peace operations and humanitarian action, and there is an emphasis on the UN system. There's also a specialized conflict-focused curriculum. So as mentioned, our students get to explore legal and ethical challenges within peacekeeping, humanitarian intervention, accountability for war crime, and it's very practice-orientated skills that are developed within this course, where students gain that advanced knowledge of legal policy and advocacy, while they're also specializing in those relevant areas of humanitarian law. And I'll pass over to Ray, who will provide more information about the unique features of this LLM program.
Hello, everybody. And again, thank you, Maria. So my name is Ray Murphy, and I'm the director of this program, and I'm part of the Irish Centre for Human Rights, in which the program is embedded. And the first thing I'd emphasize is that to study for this particular program, you do not need a law degree. While there is a focus on the legal frameworks relevant to all the activities that take place in the context of peacekeeping, peace building, conflict resolution, most of the students that we have do not have law backgrounds, and by the end of the program are very familiar and conversant with the legal frameworks and the legal principles. There is, as Maria said, a focus on the activities of the United Nations, because it is the world body that deals primarily with such issues under the UN Charter. But the United Nations is going through a period of many difficult challenges. And so we also focus on regional organizations such as the African Union, and to a lesser extent the European Union, because they, in more recent times and in the future, are likely to have to shoulder the burden of peacekeeping and peace building as the UN goes through this particularly difficult period. But I would emphasize, with regard to the focus on the UN, it is still the primary body responsible for the maintenance of international peace and security. And this period of challenge will pass. And I am confident the UN's role as the primary body responsible for this particular area of law and practice will be reestablished. Now, we focus on, of course, peacekeeping and peace operations and conflict resolution, but also it's mandatory that students take international humanitarian law, which is the legal framework that governs any situation of armed conflict, which is the most likely context in which you're likely to work or be engaged in subsequent to graduating from this program. So they're the mandatory programs, but there's a whole host of other options that are available to students to take, that are available also on international human rights, in the International Human Rights LLM and the various other LLM programs. So it's a rich menu of options which you can enhance your knowledge and build up your expertise in other areas. One of the things I would like to emphasize is that Maria did say this, is that it is very practice focused, and there is a lot of emphasis on the practical issues that you will need to be familiar with and confront working in the field, because it is intended to equip people for working with the United Nations or the European Union or the African Union, or indeed NGOs and international other bodies throughout the world working in conflict resolution and the peacekeeping field. We do have we have very close connections with the Irish Defence Forces, and indeed each year we have a field trip to the Defence Forces where they give presentations in relation to current peacekeeping practice and the challenges in international humanitarian law, and give students practical guides in the type of weapons and issues that arise in the field, in peacekeeping and in conflict in general. And indeed, there are a whole range of speakers that visit the centre every year, and courses available through this and other programs, which are available to all the students that are here at the centre. So I'm happy to answer any questions today, or indeed if you want to email me at the university, I will always try to respond as promptly as possible. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ray, for providing that additional insight. Any questions you can pop again in the chat at the end in the Q&A session. So moving on to the LLM International Migration and Refugee Law and Policy. This is the most specialized program that there is within migration and refugee law and policy, and it equips students with the understanding to critique and work in the field of international migration and forced displacement at the domestic, regional, and international level. So your students will explore the international legal framework and the policies that shape both regular and irregular migration that is both voluntary and forced. So you really do examine how those law and policies impact the human rights of migrants and refugees, and it enhances and both provides you with the ability to launch your career within migration and displacement. So with this LLM program, as migration continues to be a challenge within the world, there is increasing demand for legal professionals and policy experts within this area that address those complex issues such as displacement, asylum, and refugee protection. And it really does respond to emerging trends such as climate-induced displacement, mixed migration flows, and the reform of international refugee protection systems. So looking at some of the unique course features of this particular program, students have the ability to analyse how international EU and Irish legal systems respond to migration and asylum issues. So it's bridging global frameworks with domestic application. There also is that opportunity to investigate the legal dimensions of climate migration, inequality, and forced displacement, and really explore those complex issues. It's a very specialised and future focused curriculum. So we really do engage with pressing global challenges such as climate-induced displacement, trafficking, statelessness, and EU border governments. And as I mentioned, I will pass over to Siobhan, who is the program director of this LLM program, to provide more insight into this particular LLM.
Thank you very much, Maria. So yes, the Masters in International Migration and Refugee Law and Policy is unique in Ireland and is unique actually in Ireland and the UK, and one of very few specialised masters in this field globally. It reflects the growing global challenges linked to forced displacement and migration for work, for study, for family unity. And it is a very international law focused program. So it looks at the international dimensions of migration and refugee protection and displacement, whether that's due to climate change or for business or work or study, as well as regional and domestic law developments. It's a very current and rapidly evolving area. Students take core modules in contemporary issues in migration law, which I teach, and international refugee law, which my colleague, Professor Smith, teaches, as well as then elective modules in areas such as common European asylum law, climate justice, business and human rights, or you can combine these with areas of study such as peace operations and international criminal law, gender and human rights, minority rights, depending on what you want to bring to the study and what careers you're thinking about beyond the program. Our graduates have gone on to work with international organizations in government and public policy, in legal practice, as well as in civil society and research. We have an annual conference with the Immigration, Asylum and Citizenship Bar Association, linking in with leading practitioners in the field. And students complete a dissertation over the summer period and receive training on research and writing skills. The dissertation is on a subject matter of their choice and supervised by specialists in the field. So yeah, we attract students from across the world in this rapidly evolving area, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Siobhan, for providing that insight. And we'll have the floor open to questions at the end. So moving on then to the LLM in International Human Rights. So this LLM program provides a comprehensive study of legal norms and mechanisms protecting human dignity globally. Students analyze human rights challenges in diverse contexts and develop the expertise for research, policymaking, or legal practice in international justice. So this really provides our students the ability to deepen their understanding of international human rights law and its applications. So if you're looking to pursue a career within international organizations, NGOs, or government bodies, this course provides you with that fundamental learning and in-house academic excellence for that. As mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, the Irish Centre for Human Rights is on campus, so it really does provide that immersive experience for our students. And looking at some additional unique course features, there is a focused curriculum on engaging those critical core areas, including that civil and political rights, economic and social rights, refugee protection, and the emerging challenges within the international human rights framework. There is also fieldwork and practical skills. So students have the opportunity to visit global human rights bodies like the UNHRC and ECHR for that immersive on-the-ground learning. And as mentioned, it's also research-led teaching. So the benefit of the Irish Centre for Human Rights being on campus really does provide that expertise of distinguished academic who have that experience within human rights law and different NGOs, government bodies. So I will pass back over to Siobhan just to provide a little bit more insight into the unique features of this LLM program also.
Thank you. I'm Programme Director of the LLM in International Human Rights Law, which is the longest running of our master's programs in human rights, now running for 25 years. It's one of the world's leading international human rights law programs, taught by distinguished experts from across the field of human rights. It has a core module in international human rights law, and then a very wide range of elective modules. So students can adapt the course to their particular areas of interest, whether that's business and human rights, gender and human rights, transitional justice, or migration. You can combine those with the core study of international human rights law. We also have a unique award-winning human rights clinic, which focuses on the practice of movement lawyering and engaging with civil society, with UN and regional bodies. And students work on particular projects. We have an excellent website showcasing those projects and that external engagement. So please have a look at that to get a sense of the wide range of experience and opportunities open to students. With all of our master's programs at the Irish Centre for Human Rights, we offer a field trip to The Hague, which allows for visiting of major international institutions, the International Criminal Court, the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, and to meet with our alumni who work there, as well as with adjunct professors, such as Judge Gunael Metro, for example. That takes place usually in April or May each year, and students may also have the opportunity to observe legal proceedings. Our staff have extensive experience in working with international institutions as professionals and academics, so those contacts are always open to students. We also have a distinguished summer school on the International Criminal Court, which is available to all of our master's students. And whether or not you are studying international criminal law, it gives you the opportunity to have an additional experience and expertise added to your program. And that takes place in June each year and has a wide range of distinguished practitioners and scholars, and again is the longest running summer school in this field. Our students come from across the world, so it's a very international classroom. We've students from all parts of the globe, some with extensive experience, some coming straight from undergraduate to postgraduate, and bringing their particular interests to class discussions. Our alumni have gone on to work with the United Nations, with the European Union, with governments across the globe, in diplomatic roles and public policy roles, in legal practice, and with civil society and international development, where we see an increasing focus on human rights. Many also work with the private sector, again, where we see an increasing interest in human rights and public policy expertise. And that alumni network is a really important support to our students. We offer careers seminars throughout the year, and staff are always ready to provide support and respond to student questions. So those are some of the key features. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Siobhan, for providing that additional insight. We will then move on to our LLM in Transitional Justice, Human Rights and Conflict. So this LLM program equips our students with that knowledge and skills to address those complex legal, political and practical challenges that are faced by societies emerging from conflict and repression. So you will explore issues such as post-conflict reconstruction, enforced disappearances, torture, gender-based violence and genocide. And this LLM program also offers interdisciplinary exploration of the legal, policy and practical challenges faced in societies, as mentioned, emerging from conflict, authoritarianism or mass human rights violations. So it really does examine the mechanisms such as truth commissions, criminal tribunals, reparations and institutional reform while dealing with those urgent global issues such as arbitration, detention, torture, genocide, gender-based and sexual violence in conflict. So our students really do gain that deep understanding of how transitional justice contributes to peace building, accountability and reconciliation, while we do place a strong emphasis on international human rights and humanitarian law. So looking at some of the unique course features, there is a focus on justice in post-conflict societies. So our students will examine how law addresses legacy of mass violence and authoritarianism through truth commissions, reparations, criminal prosecutions, and institutional reform. And you do learn from those global experts. So by being taught by internationally recognized scholars, you have that opportunity to really have that in-depth direct experience with that post-conflict context and those peace building initiatives. It is also a unique course offering because we do integrate law with social science and comparative research to explore justice, memory and reconciliation with opportunities. And there is also research and field work. So I'll pop on also to the next LLM program and then we'll get one of our academics to discuss both of those. So we will deal with our LLM, Gender and Human Rights Law and Policy. So this LLM program equips our students and those future change makers with the legal tools to advance gender equality worldwide. So you will explore how law shaped realities and gain experience to influence policy, protect rights, and drive meaningful social transformation. So it really does engage with global and regional human rights systems while examining key themes such as gender and conflict, peace building, and the complex relationship that exists between gender, law, and religion. And it is a unique program of its kind within Ireland and the UK, and it really does provide students with that unparalleled academic and professional foundation. Looking at some of the unique course offerings, so there is a specialist focus on gender justice. So it does explore that intersection of gender law and human rights with a curriculum that is centered towards feminist legal theory, reproductive rights, LGBTQI plus rights, and gender-based violence. There's also an opportunity for both applied research and policy work. So you undertake an independent research aligned with current legal and policy challenges, and this is often in collaboration with NGOs or government bodies. So I will pass over to our academics who will provide more course insight on the unique features of these LLM programs.
Hi, I'm Anita Ferrara. I'm the director on the previous one, which is the LLM in Transitional Justice, Human Rights and Conflict. These are the last two LLMs that Maria presented. Thanks, Maria, have been added last year. These are new LLMs. And the LLM in Transitional Justice was launched in April last year, and it's the only LLM in Transitional Justice in the Republic of Ireland. And one of the few existing globally, because there are 2 or 3 existing worldwide specializing on transitional justice, human rights and conflict. The LLM focuses, it's very interdisciplinary, and it's specifically dedicated to transitional justice because it has become a huge field of policy practice and inquiry because it includes multiple mechanisms and multiple institutions, and it focuses on how to balance different aims in post-conflict and post-authoritarian societies, including the right to truth, to justice, to reparation, to institutional reforms, and therefore it tries to understand what is justice in post-conflict societies and how it relates to the classic traditional forms of criminal justice, but goes beyond courtroom. So it focuses on restorative justice, on truth commissions, on reparations, on memory sites, on archival justice. So there are many other forms that justice can be tackled during, after, in post-conflict and in post-authoritarian societies. And the master focuses on the dilemmas and on the problems and issues and challenges arising from these complex situations. It's very interdisciplinary, as Ray said, for the peace operations. It's not only for those that have a legal background, because actually the field is open to different fields. So welcome anyone that is not that doesn't have a low legal background. There are lots of international students on the program, and we have increasing cooperation with international institutions, especially in Latin America, which is one of the regions where I'm mostly focused, but also in Africa. And again, in transitional justice, there are many opportunities, there are many work opportunities, increasingly both at regional level and at domestic level, focusing on international crimes. So it's quite a lively area of research, and at the moment it's actually a very interesting path to explore in terms of careers for the future careers, whether at international or at regional level. I'm not going to spend more because I'm conscious that we don't have much time left, so I'm giving the words to my colleague for the other LLM.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Anita. My name is Ruja Fazaili. I'm the director for LLM for Gender and Human Rights Law and Policy. Apologies, it took me a while to join the link. I had some issues with kind of technical issues. This is also a very unique LLM, one of its kind in Ireland and UK. It offers a very unique exploration of the intersection between gender and international human rights law. Also, the program critically engages with global and regional human rights system while examining key themes such as gender equality, gender and conflict, peace building, and the complex relationship between gender law and religion. So the LLM is taught by the leading international experts and academics and practitioners with expertise in the area. There's basically collaboration as well with global organizations, including UN Women, the Council of Europe, UN CEDAW, and also some national organizations such as National Women's Council of Ireland and Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission. There are a number of core modules for this LLM: gender and human rights, international human rights law, and the minor thesis, which is 30 credits, and that should be written in an area to do with gender and human rights. And then in addition to kind of the modules that the students can choose, we also, for example, this year we had a lecture series in gender and human rights, and again we had both academic and practitioners who took part in the gender series. And also, there are a number of projects at the center that the students can be involved with. One of them, for example, has to do with Muslim women's access to justice in Europe. And we have a number of the LLM students who are actually working with us this semester and next semester as interns. So I'm happy to take any questions in the question and answer session. Thank you.
Great. Thank you both, Anita and Raja, for providing more insight into the unique features of both LLM programs. So do we have Paula on the call? Has she been able to join, Joanna?
I don't see her on the call, sorry. She may well have access to the chat functionality, but not on the call just now.
Okay, that's no problem. I know that there was an error adding her as a speaker, but this is actually one of our LLM in international migration and refugee law and policy. So this is just a brief student interview on to why she chose this particular degree program. So I will just play this for you all.
My name is Paula Cordova. I'm studying my LLM in International Migration and Refugee Law and Policy. This is the most specialized program there is in migration law and refugee law as well. And the PhD professors and students here are doing really groundbreaking research. Being at the Irish Center for Human Rights has been an immersive experience. I believe that moving from Ecuador here to Galway has given me insights on what it is like to change my whole life moving across the world, and studying this program on migration law has really provided me with a lot of insights into that. I would really like to bring everything that I've learned here and all the tools that I get here in studying back to my own region in the Americas and really make a difference for refugees living there. One of my career goals is to keep working in human rights and specialized humanitarian work around refugees. That's the why behind my postgraduate degree program.
What's helpful, Maria, is Paula is actually on the chat functionality, so it was wonderful that we had a video of insights into her student experience. So Paula is here should there be questions on that.
Okay, that's brilliant. So as mentioned, I know Paula's in the chat function, but she is one of our international students, and she's picked one of the specialized LLM programs that we've presented on here today. So I suppose from an international student perspective, it's really interesting to see someone who has relocated to Galway enjoying their experience and further developing their career tailored towards their own personal goals. We also have a student from our International and Comparative Disability Law and Policy program. So I will also play this for you here just because it's really insightful. Sometimes I find to have a real student insight into what the course is like and their specific experience.
For me, the greatest part of the course is being surrounded by incredible peers, all of whom are doing amazing work in the disability sector. Being able to come together in the class and share ideas, thoughts, understandings, and then be able to go back into the world and share that knowledge in our respective fields is a huge part of the reason why I did this course. My name is Conal Fagan, and I am doing the LLM in International and Comparative Disability Law and Policy. I chose this particular program for two reasons. One is that I have supported family members who live with disabilities, and so being able to understand more about the different aspects that go into the world of disability is really important to me. And then the second as well is that the work in which I do each and every day is focused on disability and sport. And so how can I bring these two together and being able to apply the knowledge which I'm learning in the classroom to my workplace. I'm currently studying while working full time. And so being able to apply the knowledge from the classroom into my daily life in my job that I have has made such a huge difference and has added such value into my team and my workplace and allowed me to keep excelling each and every day. University of Galway has been so incredible in terms of supporting me in my journey, and as I continue to discern where I want to end up, what I want to do, they're helping me develop as a leader and developing those critical thinking skills, which in the end will help me to discern where I want to be, where I want to make impact, and how I can be a force for good in the world. I chose University of Galway because of the Centre for Disability Law and Policy, given that it is so well renowned around the world. Being able to come here full time and work with the most incredible people for me was such a deciding factor. And of course, Galway is an incredible city for students. So being able to be surrounded by amazing peers from around the world, for me, like there's no better place. That's the why behind my postgraduate degree program.
So that is one of our students from one of our other degree programs. As you can see, they touch on Galway being a vibrant, welcoming city for different students alongside the facilities that exist on campus. So moving on, we have some of our top graduate employers listed below. There's also many more, as you can imagine, because a lot of our graduates are doing incredible work globally. We will then, I'm conscious of the time that we have, so I want to make time for the question and answers session. So just to take note of some of our postgraduate awards. So with our postgraduate intake, our offers need to be accepted by 30th April 2026 to be considered for one of our 50% off student scholarships within the School of Law. There is also a Government of Ireland International Education Scholarship, which is something to be aware of. It is a prestigious scholarship for our non-EU or non-EEA students, and there's 60 places awarded across all of the Irish higher education institutions each year, and each one of our LLM programs are applicable for the scholarship. So just to be aware of that, but the closing date is March 2026. For our admissions and entry requirements, Joanna will pop into the chat specific links to discuss this. And if you do have any additional questions about specific admissions or entry requirements, feel free to email lawpostgrad@universityofgalway.ie. This is our information on the screen. We also have a website which has more detailed course information about each of the programs. So I would just firstly as well like to say thank you so much for your time. I know we have slightly run over with the delay at the beginning. So I will open up the chat to any questions that you may have. Joanna will call them out and we can have our academics answer any specifics relating to the LLM programs.
Well, Maria, thanks for a very comprehensive overview of all of the programs. We don't have any questions just yet, and that's thanks to the level of detail that's been provided. It's a wonderful resource that we have now in terms of insights across the program offering. One question that comes to mind, and it's a question that I usually get at events, is what would the typical class size look like, Maria, just to give a sense for students, the class that they'll be joining?
I think per LLM program that really differs. Some groups are larger than others, but I think our academics can agree that with our program offerings, we do want that core learning where it's really engaging. There's classroom discussion, promote it with peers. Some of our academics may be able to talk about current classroom sizes per LLM, but it varies per LLM program based on demand and overall applications.
I'm happy to comment on that. So the master's programs are all seminar based. So we really emphasize classroom discussion and interactive sessions. So we try to keep the teaching in smaller groups. Some, as Maria said, may be larger where it's a core group, but then we will have the smaller specialized seminar discussions as well. So it's a seminar based approach. That could include case studies, case methods, moot court, presentations, guest speakers, but very much a lively, dynamic seminar-based discussion classroom.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I think we've covered it all very well, Maria, there, thanks to you and your colleagues. One extra point I will add from the Global Galway perspective is we tend to have a lot of international students coming interested in these programs. We have representatives, so we have representatives overseas, in-country reps. We have a colleague called Alex based in China. We've Andrew and Joydeep in India. We've Amika based in Nigeria and Africa. We have Lei, Malaysia for Southeast Asia. And we have Cecilia based in the US, as well as Alejandro in Latam. And I tell you this in terms of the study visa process from visa required countries, just to acknowledge that there is support there for you. So if you are in difficulty or just need further guidance or support, that Global Galway team, in addition to the overseas teams, there to support you. And of course, the advice around the study visa process is apply as early as possible. Anything else to add, Maria?
No, that is everything from the School of Law office. I again would like to thank you all for your time today, and thanks to the academics for joining today, because it's really insightful to add those unique course details to these webinars. So if anyone does have any specific questions, you can reach out to lawpostgrad@universityofgalway.ie, and this webinar will also be circulated and will be available online. So thank you once again for all of your time today.